V for Voice, Not Vendetta by Austin Porter. This is a poem/autobiography. At my high school, you're required to make a senior project in order to graduate. Your project should have a strong focus on what you want to do in your future. I decided to write a poem which has turned into an autobiography during my high school career. I want to be an English teacher, thus I found this fitting. At my first poem had no point, no direction. I had originally written a poem calling out everyone in my school, blaming all my teachers, a real final FU to my high school. But any fool can complain, but it takes real thought to make a positive impact and change. I believed in the truth and that the bad helps us to value and progress towards good. So here is my story. I had the papers filled out my junior/sophomore year. I was ready to be a high school dropout. I was ready because I was emotionally drained because of what I perceived as the inability of my school to embrace its struggling students. My real struggle was that I did not know to keep going and to whom I could turn to. I say my junior/sophomore year because I'm 19 and still in high school. I'm a super senior. I was not here because I'm dumb or wayward. I'm here because my teachers did not give one. So here's my 2 cents. Let me preface my story with a little background about myself. I was raised in Las Vegas and attended school there in an environment where there was very little judgment about race and economic status. The school I attended were crowded, though everyone always seemed to embrace students for their cultural differences. When I moved here from Las Vegas during my 6th grade year, I was faced with a huge cultural shock. The change was something I was not expecting, especially during my freshman year of high school. I had a math teacher who only cared about one thing, his sports team, and getting real comfortable with his girl athletes. I began to notice that when I was failing and began to reach out by asking him for help, to my surprise the teacher provided me no reinforcement. He then sat me in the corner of the room isolated because I had complained that I needed help understanding the concepts. He then proceeded to tell me he couldn't help because his life was too preoccupied with coaching. I began falling behind and I didn't think there was anything I could do about it. Before the day of our exam, when I went to the teacher for continuous help, what was he doing? Wrestling with his favorite female athlete. He told me he would help, but he was too preoccupied with his conquête female. The next day, while I sat staring at my blank test, I looked up at my teacher was sitting hand in hand, taking the test with his favorite female student. I should have reported the unusual behavior of my teacher. I should have gone to another teacher, but in my next elective class, I had taken to learn business processes and professionalism. I started out doing fine in this class, and I enjoyed the learning environment. Until one day my teacher said, "Mr. Porter, who are your parents?" I then told the teacher their names, and from that moment on, right on cue, I began to fail. You see, I later found out that the teacher did not like my mother. Funny thing is, I was doing the same amount of work, the same quality of work. I came to my mom in anguish. She told me, "You're only as good as what you can prove." And so I obtained a fellow classmate's test. We had the same exact answers, but he received an A and I an F. This teacher also told me when I came to her asking how to get my grade up, that if I gave up my weekends and participated in an after-school fundraiser selling chairs in a snow blizzard of football games, I would pass her class. After asking countless times, I never received any extra credit, even after giving her my time. I got angry and decided not to give up. Just because a teacher will not help me and I end up failing the class, all because of who my mother is, that just because I was not a flirtatious athlete girl, I was not going to give up. In my first drafts, I had lists and lists of other wrongdoings in my school, but because of the powerful project I was to present, I decided to take a different approach. I decided that instead of all this negativity, why not show the positivity of my experience and how I overcame my hardships. Yeah, I'm a super senior, and yes, I had to continue my high school education beyond my other peers, but all the teachers that opposed me failed to believe in me. They failed to mention that I came back and got a 3.8 GPA and was awarded the most improved student of the year. My teachers will soon concede my high school performance as well as my overall being. Overall, I don't want for students to feel as I did, without a voice. For my senior project, I am also proposing an anonymous tip box. This box will provide an outlet for students in the case that they do not feel comfortable or fear coming forward in such case that a student feels. Through my struggles, I learned that there is an order in which you handle things. My second proposal is to provide a chart for students to follow in the instance that there is an issue that is not resolved. This chart will have the chain of command among the school district employees. It will be made visible to all students. This will also allow students to handle the problems early on so they don't get behind like me, and so that teachers can't continue in their falsity. If your teacher is being nepotistic, biased, or racist, or you need help, report your teacher anonymously. You can. It's my belief that these two items will help empower a struggling student. I also will be opening a YouTube channel, and if a student is having problems, they can voice their opinion. We can also think and share as a community of students on how to improve school. You see, a basic teacher speaks, a better teacher demonstrates, and a great teacher inspires. Teachers need to realize how they affect the students they see each and every day. We should all be treated equally, not based on faith, hobbies, sex, or sports. Students all around should be respected and treated equally. It isn't just the ethics speaking, it's the law. My biggest piece of advice for teachers is try having a heart. Teachers must try to understand their students, although they might never understand them fully. Try to your best potential. Teachers don't know how each student learns or how their lives are lived. For students, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Both is a responsible and respectable manner, and try to in a positive way. There is something exceptional in each and every person. It's a teacher's job to find it and embrace it. If you think of ways on how to make school more student-based, please don't be afraid to set it in motion.